Morning, all. All right, so I'm still recovering from whatever the heck I'm dealing with here. So I'm going to apologize for my voice and if I cough and all that fun stuff. But we're going to talk about the 1999 2000 season. We're getting into the 2000s now. The East is won by Philadelphia during the regular season. They finished 45-22, 12 and 3. The fourth column is overtime losses, as this season we see a change in that there's 1 point for overtime losses. So 45-22, 12 and 3 record for Philadelphia, 105 points, 237 goals scored, 179 goals against. Eric Desjardins and Eric Lindros both wore the C that year for Philadelphia. In Washington, they finished 44-24, 12 and 2. They're captained by Adam Oates. 102 points for the Caps, 227 goals scored, 194 goals against. The Toronto Maple Leafs, winning their division, they finished third, 100 points for them, a record of 45-27, 7 and 3, under captain Matt Sundin. 246 goals scored, 222 goals against. The New Jersey Devils, worn here, of course, they finished with 103 points. So technically, points wise, they were second in the conference, but their seed is fourth because they're in the same division as Philadelphia. The Devils finished 45-24, 8 and 5, 103 points for them, 251 goals scored, 203 goals against. Scott Stevens is their captain. The Florida Panthers finished 43-27, 6 and 6. So 98 points for the Panthers, 244 goals scored, 209 goals against. Scott Mellanby is the captain in Florida. The Ottawa Senators in the playoffs again, record of 41-28, 11 and 2, 95 points, 244 goals scored, 210 goals against. Daniel Alfredson being their captain at this point. The Pittsburgh Penguins, the number 7 seed, 37-31, 8 and 6. 88 points for them, 241 goals scored, 236 goals against. Jaromir Jagr is their captain. The Buffalo Sabres, Michael Pekka, their captain, 35-32, 11 and 4, 85-point season for them. 213 goals scored, 204 goals against. They finished 1 point ahead of the Carolina Hurricanes, who missed the playoffs. Carolina 37-35 and 10, 84 points, 217 goals scored, 216 goals against. Both Ron Francis and Keith Primo were the C that year for Carolina. Montreal 35-34, 9 and 4 record, 83 points, 196 goals scored, 194 goals against, and Saku Koivu is their captain. The New York Rangers 29-38, 12 and 3, 73 points, 218 goals scored, 246 goals against. Brian Leetch is the captain, and this is the era where the Rangers are spending a lot of money and they're not getting a return on it. The Boston Bruins 24-33, 19 and 6 record, so also 73 points. 210 goals scored, 248 goals against. Ray Bourque's the captain, at least until he's traded. The New York Islanders finished 24-28, 9 and 1, so 58 points for the New York Islanders. 194 goals scored, 275 goals against. Kenny Johnson being their captain. The Tampa Bay Lightning, 1947, 9 and 7 record, 54 points, 204 goals scored, 310 goals against. They had three guys wear the C that year: Chris Gratton, Bill Holder, and Vinny LeCavalier. The Atlanta Thrashers joined the league, and it's a rough landing for them. 14-57, 7 and 4 record, 39 points for Atlanta. 170 goals scored, 313 goals against, which also means that in tomorrow's video, we'll be talking about the expansion into Columbus and the return to Minnesota. Out west, the St. Louis Blues, who had themselves a great year that year, 114 points, record of 51, 19, 11, and 1, 248 goals scored, 165 goals against. They're captained by Chris Pronger, who had a ridiculous season that year. Darian Hatcher finishes 43-23, 10 and 6. 102 points for the Stars, 211 goals scored, 184 goals against. Darian Hatcher, the captain in Dallas. Colorado finishes 42-28, 11 and 1, 96 points for them, 233 goals scored, 201 goals against. Joe Sakic, of course, the captain in Colorado. Detroit finishes 48-22, 10 and 2 on the season, 108 points. 278 goals scored, 210 goals against. Steve Yzerman is the captain. So again, St. Louis and Detroit in the same division. So even though Detroit has the second most points in the West, they're the number 4 seed. So they're even in the 1 versus 8 period of hockey playoffs, there were definitely some complaints that were out there, and they're ones that I totally understand. St. Louis is up here. Anyways, LA 39, 27, 12, and 4 record, 94 points. 245 goals scored, 228 goals against. They're captained by Rob Blake. The Arizona Coyotes, who were the Phoenix Coyotes at this time, 39, 31, 8, and 4 record, 90 points, 232 goals scored, 228 goals against. Keith Tkachuk is their captain. The Edmonton Oilers make the playoffs, record of 32, 26, 16, and 8, 88 points for them. 226 goals scored, 212 goals against. They're captained by Doug Weight. The San Jose Sharks, the number 8 seed, 35, 30, 10, and 7 record, 87 points, 225 goals scored, 214 goals against. They're captained by Owen Nolan. Below the playoff line reside the Anaheim Ducks, record of 34, 33, 12, and 3, 83 points, 217 goals scored, 227 goals against. Paul Kariya being the captain in Anaheim. The Vancouver Canucks going through some stuff, but seemingly out of the worst of it. 30, 29, 15, and 8 record, 83 points, 227 goals scored, 237 goals against, and they're still captained by Mark Messier. The Chicago Blackhawks, 33, 37, 10, and 2 record, 78 points, 242 goals scored, 245 goals against. They're captained by Doug Gilmour. So Doug Gilmour, one of the former captains of Chicago, trivia answer there, I'm sure, because it's easy to forget Gilmour played there and Montreal. Steve Smith's the captain in Calgary. 31, 36, 10, and 7 record for the Flames, or 10 and 5 record, I should say, for the Flames, who finished with 77 points. 211 goals scored, 256 goals against. In Nashville, they finished 28, 47, and 7, 70 points, 199 goals scored, 240 goals against. They're captained by Tom Fitzgerald. So as previously mentioned, we have 1 point now for an overtime loss. February 6th of 2000, during the All-Star break, they retire the number 99 across the NHL as if anybody's ever going to wear it again, right? Nobody's ever going to wear Gretzky's number again. It wouldn't happen. The Canes move from Greensboro to Raleigh. So Greensboro was just the stop point until they found a new home in Raleigh. Still Carolina, so you don't have to change anything. This is the third year in a row that Jaromir Jagr wins the Art Ross Trophy. So he was kind of seen as being the next one. You had Gretzky, you had Lemieux. It was supposed to be Lindros, but Jagr becomes the guy who's leading and scoring more often. June 18th of 1999, the Devils sign Brian Rafalski as a free agent, as an undrafted free agent. June 20th, I should say, of 1999, the Islanders make a big trade here. Ziggy Palffy, Brian Smolinski, Marcel Cousineau, and a 1999 fourth-round draft pick traded to the LA Kings for Olli Jokinen, Josh Green, Matthew Biron, and a 1999 first-round draft pick. This is one of those trades that we look at now and say, what? Why? And the answer, of course, is Mike Milbury. March 6th of 2000, the Boston Bruins trade Ray Bourque and Dave Andreychuk to the Avs for Brian Ralston, Martin Grenier, Sammy Paulson, and a first-round draft pick. It is a trade that broke my heart, but I was glad for Bourque to get a chance to go to Colorado and maybe win himself a Stanley Cup. He didn't win it this year, but he would win it the following season, of course. February 21st of 2000, Dominik Hasek becomes the first European goaltender to reach 200 career wins in the National Hockey League. October 2nd of 1999, Ray Bourque scores his 386th career goal to set a record for defensemen in the National Hockey League. January 2nd of 2000, Scotty Bowman becomes the first NHL coach to be behind the bench for 5 different decades. So Scotty Bowman, the longevity's there, the greatness is there. It's hard to argue against him as the best coach in the history of the game. The Art Ross Trophy that year goes to Jaromir Jagr of Pittsburgh. The Masterton goes to Ken Daneyko of the New Jersey Devils. The Calder goes to Scott Gomez of the New Jersey Devils. The Conn Smythe goes to Scott Stevens of the New Jersey Devils. The Selke goes to Steve Yzerman of the Detroit Red Wings. The Hart goes to Chris Pronger of the St. Louis Blues. The Jack Adams goes to Joel Quenneville of the St. Louis Blues. The Norris Trophy goes to Chris Pronger of the St. Louis Blues, so he wins the Hart. Of course he's going to win the Norris. The King Clancy goes to Curtis Joseph of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Lady Byng goes to Pavel Demitra of the St. Louis Blues. And the Lester Pearson goes to Jaromir Jagr of Pittsburgh. The Rocket Richard goes to Pavel Bure of the Florida Panthers. The Vezina goes to Ole the goalie, Olaf Kolzig in Washington. And the Jennings Trophy goes to Roman Turek of the St. Louis Blues. Roman Turek's name on the board. There you go. The All-Stars that year, Steve Yzerman of Detroit's the first team All-Star down the middle. Mike Modano of Dallas is second team. On the left side, Brendan Shanahan of Detroit's the first team All-Star. Paul Correa of Anaheim's second team. On the right side, Jaromir Jagr of Pittsburgh's the first team All-Star. Pavel Bure of Florida's the second team All-Star. On the blue line, Chris Pronger of St. Louis and Nick Lidstrom of Detroit, the first team All-Stars. Rob Blake of LA and Eric Desjardins of Philadelphia, second team All-Stars. Keep in mind, Lidstrom hasn't won a Norris Trophy yet. He's been in the running every year. He hasn't won one yet. In net, Olaf Kolzig's your first team All-Star from Washington, and Roman Turek of St. Louis is your second team All-Star. So Jaromir Jagr leads the league in points. He didn't get to 100 that year. Very, very rare we don't have a 100-point scorer in the NHL, but during this era, it does happen. 63 games for Jagr, 42 goals, 54 assists, 96 points. So in the event that he'd played the full season, of course, he would have got over 100 points. Pavel Bure, 74 games, 58 goals, 36 assists, 94 points for Florida, of course. Mark Recchi in Philadelphia, 82 games, 28 goals, 63 assists, 91 points. Paul Correa in Anaheim, 74 games, 42 goals, 44 assists, 86 points. Teemu Selanne in Anaheim, 79 games, 33 goals, 52 assists, 85 points. Owen Nolan in San Jose, 78 games, 44 goals, 40 assists, 84 points. Tony Amonte in Chicago, 82 games, 43 goals, 41 assists, 84 points. Mike Modano in Dallas, 77 games, 38 goals, 43 assists, 81 points. Joe Sakic in Colorado, 60 games, 28 goals, 53 assists, 81 points. So again, if Sakic plays the whole season, he very likely gets to 100 points. Yzerman, 78 games, 35 goals, 44 assists, 79 points. Your goaltending numbers, Marty Brodeur led the league in wins, a record of 43, 20, and 8, 9-10 save percentage. Roman Turek finished 42, 15, and 9 with a 9-12 save percentage. And Olaf Kolzig finishes 41, 20, and 11, 9-17 save percentage. He was very good. So we get to the playoffs. And in the conference quarterfinals, Detroit sweeps LA. So I'm sure Detroit wishes they'd been the number 2 seed instead of number 4. Colorado beats Phoenix 4-1. Dallas beats Edmonton 4-1. San Jose beats St. Louis 4-3. So St. Louis spends that whole season just, building up points and wins. And they finish first, and then San Jose knocks them off. San Jose's pretty good as an underdog early on in their history. New Jersey sweeps Philadelphia. Toronto, they beat Ottawa 4-2. We're getting into that era where Toronto and Ottawa is a bad matchup for Toronto, or a bad matchup for Ottawa. Pittsburgh beats Washington 4-1 because that's almost always a bad matchup for the Caps. Philadelphia beats Buffalo 4-1. We get to the conference finals, or semifinals, I should say. Colorado beats Detroit 4-1, so a little anticlimactic compared to some of their other meetings. Dallas beats San Jose 4-1. New Jersey beats Toronto 4-2. And Philadelphia beats Pittsburgh 4-2. So we move on to the conference final. Colorado wins in Dallas 2-0. Dallas evens the series with a 3-2 win. Colorado wins 2-0 to get a 2-1 series lead. Dallas answers with a 4-1 win. Dallas wins in overtime 3-2 at home. Colorado wins at home 2-1. And Dallas wins Game 7 at home 3-2 to win the series in 7, of course. New Jersey goes into Philadelphia and wins the first game 4-1. Philadelphia answers with a 4-3 victory. Philadelphia then goes into New Jersey and wins both games. They win 4-2 and 3-1. And then New Jersey goes into Philadelphia and wins 4-1. New Jersey wins at home 2-1. And then they go into Philadelphia and win 2-1. So they shut it down when they needed to. And a 3-1 series comeback. They win their series in 7 games. So we have Dallas and New Jersey in the Stanley Cup final. New Jersey wins the first game 7-3 at home. Dallas wins the second game 2-1. And then New Jersey wins both games in Dallas by scores of 2-1 and 3-1. Dallas then wins 1-0 in triple overtime. before New Jersey goes into Dallas and wins 2-1 in double overtime. So New Jersey wins the Stanley Cup by a 4-2 score in terms of games in that final. Brett Hull, 2 goals and 2 assists. Mike Modano, a goal and 3 assists. Yuri Lettinen, 3 assists. Arnott had 4 goals and 3 assists. Sikora had 3 goals and 2 assists for New Jersey. And Patrick Elias had 5 assists for the New Jersey Devils. In net, Belfour, 930 save percentage for Dallas. Manny Fernandez got in there too, 875 save percentage. And Marty Brodeur, 939 save percentage. So in the final, it was quite the goaltending duel, but in the end, New Jersey wins it. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.